Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Coffee Thoughts. So welcome. I want to introduce my co-host, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. And I'm Terrelle from California Cover-Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. And today we have our guest, Miss Terrelle Ballard, who is with us today, and we're going to be interviewing her. So sit back, relax, and just let the conversation flow. We hope you'll put your questions in the chat so that we can let Terrelle respond. In addition to that, we hope that you would share this out. If you're watching on the replay, we just want to say, hi, thank you for watching. And we want to welcome you to the show. How you doing this morning, Fran?
All is well.
I thought you said friend.
That too. Well, let me get started by introducing Miss Terrelle Ballard. How are you, Terrelle?
I'm good, and just like you're Terrellina, I'm
Terrelle. Terrelle. Okay, like Carol with a T?
Right.
Terrelle. Okay, I can do that. Hi, Terrelle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to start by allowing you to describe yourself and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm an independent insurance agent and broker with Freeman Insurance Services, but I also have a consulting business, which is Icon Strategies, which is strategic development and execution. And they kind of intertwine in the sense that when I started doing my strategic planning with businesses, part of what I wanted to do with small businesses in particular, not-for-profits, is helping them to implement the plans that we worked on. Because I found when I sat on a lot of the not-for-profit boards, they had pretty much shot their wad on purchasing the strategic planning services from the consultants and really didn't have the money or the resources to implement the plans right away. And, you know, if you're not right on top of those plans, then they get shoved in the drawer and no one ever does anything with them. So with me having worked in various industries, large not-for-profits, small not-for-profits, volunteering, I, acquired quite a bit of skills, and so that was what I saw as my mission. And then as I consulted with some of these small businesses, I realized they don't have insurance and they think they're in business. And at the same time, I was getting my insurance license, so it really kind of dovetails. A lot of times I'll go in for the strategic planning and then ask them about their insurance and say, okay, let's take care of this, just like if you need a newsletter. Okay, I'll do the newsletter for a little bit for you, but I'm not going to do it forever. But if you don't have insurance, that's something I can take care of. And on the other side, I go into some businesses that realize they need insurance, and they start complaining about other things and issues and problems with their business. And, I think I can be a little more helpful with them, because sometimes people are overinsured but underinsured at the same time, if that makes sense to you.
I know it doesn't. That's another subject. Go ahead.
No,
Yes.
So, I can see how that can happen. So
yes,
please,
it's like a la carte. They have all these other things because someone says, "Oh, you need liability. Oh, you need general business. Oh, you need cyber. Oh, you need that." And unless somebody's sitting down with you looking at all those pieces, you can have tons of things and then lots of gaps. And so I like to, with my business clients, and they do a lot on the personal side, but they haven't really done it on the business side, to really sit down with the clients and say, let me see what you have. Because the last thing I want is for them to spend a whole lot of money in premiums, and when it hits the fan, they find out there is a gap somewhere. because they, one hand was not talking to the other, and they got this from, one entity and that from another entity. And I'm not looking to sell more, but I'm just looking to make sure that you're not spending good money after bad.
Okay. I think I saw a little of that going on with the wildfires here in California. People on the news talking about that they thought they were sufficiently covered and they trusted their broker, and now they're not able to rebuild. So people do need your expertise.
And then I'm also thinking about people in business who I'm specifically thinking of the biz chicks, not us personally, but all of the people in our community who are running their businesses and doing all these things, but I don't think they've thought about insurance and what that means to their business. Can you speak to even people who have multi-level, but direct sales type of things, like the Mary Kays and the others?
Sure, I'd love to. And it's funny because they call themselves beauty consultants. And I give a talk, which maybe one of these days I'll do it at BizChick. I just haven't really done much of it, but it might be appropriate for that group. And it's kind of a joke. I talk about diamonds being a girl's best friend. And we all know the 4 C's, color, cut, clarity, and carat. Mm-hmm. And I talk about the 4 C's of insurance, and it really applies a lot for women because many women are in the business of being consultants, being coaches, being counselors, and the 4th C, if you don't have insurance, is catastrophe. Wow. I kind of have the 4 C's of insurance. And it really, I think resonates for a female audience because that's what many of us are doing. And so what you have there is they call it errors and omissions or professional liability. And that's where maybe you give bad advice, or you don't give such bad advice, but someone says you give bad advice. I think because as entrepreneurs, we always want to take pride in what we do and do the best that we can. And so I think it's making the entrepreneurs realize a lot of times it has nothing to do with what you've done. That we all do our business with integrity, but it's just that one accusation, that one charge, and guess what? You have to defend it as if you were guilty. And so that's where the cost comes in, and that's where professional liability insurance helps you because you haven't done anything wrong, but professional liability insurance pays for the legal fees so that you can defend yourself. So, a lot, and I think that's the assumption with a lot of small business people and entrepreneurs. They know they give good service, but it's not about how good the service is. It's about sometimes how well you pick your clients. And insurance, for one thing, I'm learning more and more from people who've been out there. There are some clients that I don't even want, that I just walk away from. Because there are signs about people who are litigious or will not take accountability for their own, part in things. And, and so I've learned from some seasoned insurance agents and brokers. It's like, you want to refer that person to somebody else because no matter how well you do and what you do, if anything is encountered, they're going to look to you because they want to shift the blame somewhere else. And then guess what? You've got to defend it. And so that's where the insurance comes in. Not all the times because you did something wrong, but because someone accused you of doing something wrong.
Okay. So how did you get started?
With the insurance or the consulting? The consulting I've done for ages. I started with the American Medical Association in Chicago, and needed to move because of my husband was pursuing a residency in Washington, D.C. And so I started as a consultant with the American Osteopathic Association. So when we moved to D.C., I was doing conferences and some legislative stuff and policy things for them. But then that wasn't necessarily enough to keep me busy, because when I completed that, I mean, it's like, what do I do? So because of my public policy background and legislative background, I started working with other not-for-profits who had legislative issues. And so I was with the Alzheimer's Association and collapsed their 3 different associations into a Maryland Alzheimer's Association, and so did public policy direction for them. And then I started doing some things with AT&T and some of their smaller divisions, monitoring legislation for them, writing up a synopsis for what's going on. And I mean, I love research and doing a lot of research. And so that kind of got me through to have my own business for a while. And then in moving around, I just always kept the icon strategies. And then when I moved out here, I had a friend who had an opportunity to open her own agency, and we knew each other from the first day of graduate school. I mean, we registered for classes, probably finished about 9 o'clock in the morning, went to a little place called Mellow Yellow, had breakfast, then we had lunch, then we had dinner, and we closed the place. I mean, that was our first meeting. So it's like we've been partners in crime forever. And so she had this opportunity, and she said, you know, you need to come down here and help me open this agency. So in that vein, I got my insurance license, really to be supportive of my friend, to, you know, embark on another career. My kids were kind of growing up. I didn't, you know, have to run back and forth to school as much anymore with them and do things like that. And then that's when I kind of saw, you know, how the dovetailing of the two. And so moved back up here to Sacramento, because the agency she was with was a captive agency, which means that they only sell their own products. And sometimes you see, I mean, and the big agencies are wonderful. They do a great job. But one of the reasons that they get so big is they're quite risk averse. And so living up here in Sacramento, if I wanted to write home insurance, there were more people I had to say no to than I could say yes to, because their appetite, and that's what they call it in the insurance industry, their appetite for certain locales and risks are very narrow. And found a great guy, Anthony Freeman, started working with him, and he said, you know, you need to be your own agent and broker. And so I started with him about 3 years ago, and we have over 30 carriers, and, you know, I've found very few people I have to say no to, because I can always find something for them.
Wow, this is a problem solved. I love that. I love that, because, you know, I feel like just talking to you today makes me want to trust you to give me proper guidance and to help me find a valid source. So, Francie, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was the biggest challenge you faced getting started?
Getting started, I think it was finding my niche. Just because I always grown up in a family of, you know, really wanting to be helpful and doing things, and so I still have that that challenge, and I guess my motto in that respect is, you know, find the need and the products will follow, because so many times and then when I got comfortable with that, then it's good for me, because I'm probably not, you know, the one who's always cranking it out, but I just have more of a heart for the folks who don't have guidance. And so I think, you know, figuring out someone's need and the products will follow. And I just have a belief that, you know, when you do your best and you do good, then the money will follow too. I mean, not that I'm naive and I'm a Pollyanna about it, but I really like to understand, and maybe that's from the business background too. I like to understand the business and find out what's going to be the best fit. So, I mean, that's, kind of how I got started, is really being motivated. And like I said, from, realizing that a lot of these small companies, small businesses, no one is really there for them. It's all pretty cookie cutter. And if you don't fit into that, then you're kind of left out. And I think the other thing is that I'm excited about it because a lot of times I think people are afraid to even ask the questions because they think it's going to be an astronomical amount. And it really is not that expensive in view of what you could lose. And I mean, we're talking, under $500 for most businesses. And we can find a carrier that's going to suit your business.
Is that a month or is that a year?
A year.
Okay.
Okay. That's what, and I think a lot of people are just afraid of it. And then it's gotten even, and what's driven some of the costs down is they call them BOPs. And that's business owner packages. And so, and then it takes care of the gaps too. So it's kind of, okay, you can pick this coverage, you can pick that coverage, you can do this, you can do that. And then now the companies have what they call BOPs. And they pretty much know, based upon what you do, what you're going to need, and they put it all together in a package. And so, if you're a hair salon owner, we've got a BOP for you. If you're a realtor, we've got a BOP for you. If you're a manicurist, we've got a BOP for you. If you're even a tutor, we've got a BOP for you. If you're a coach, we've got a BOP for you. And so that is a good platform. And like I said, for probably much less than people are staying up nights thinking about it, mm-hmm. they can be fully insured.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you this. What's your biggest tip that you want to pass on to our listeners? I think you just did it, but go ahead. Because that is key. To know that insurance can be reasonable.
Yeah, and I think that the other tip that I would put out there is one of my new passions is cybersecurity. So if you're taking in any money, any private information from any of your clients, credit cards, or if you're in any kind of health area, like what is it? Flip Wilson used to say, you owe yourself a try-on. So you need to check it out. And then the other thing too is, I guess, knowing the difference between an insurance agent and an insurance broker. Mm-hmm. And Francine, you may, I don't know if this relates to you in your real estate business, but when you're with an insurance agent and they've got a captive agency, they work for the agency and you're the client, versus if you're a broker, I work with many other carriers, and so my focus is much more narrow on the client and focusing on the client. And I don't mean to say that, other agents don't focus on their clients, but in the details of obtaining a license, I mean, those are the differences between the obligations that we have. So I have a little more flexibility and finding that right policy and not keeping you in the same policy year after year because you're with my company. But, if I find annually that someone can do the same thing for you at a better premium, then I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay, that was a major tip.
Oh. Okay. I passed that test.
That was good. That was good. Okay. Terrelle, what is your favorite charity or cause?
I would say Alzheimer's Association, because that and MS. My brother had MS and passed away, and people don't really pass away from MS. It's usually complications of multiple sclerosis. So I would say on the healthcare side, the Alzheimer's, and on the social side, I think pretty much any education funds. I'm a member of an organization called the Girlfriends, and we have a Girlfriends fund, and we give out scholarships. So I think maybe sometime in my life I might like to even sponsor my own scholarship.
Nice. Very nice. What was your best day ever?
Oh gosh, so we have to exclude when our children were born, right? Because everybody's going to say that.
Because we all go there, don't we?
Yeah, we all go there. I think it's so funny. I'm thinking back. We were talking about high school, and you'll know what I mean when I say this. But in my high school, Carnegie, Pennsylvania, there are 131. And I was the one in my class, my graduating class. And I remember planning my campaign to be student council president. Mm-hmm. And, put it all together, talk to the right folks, things like that. And I ended up becoming the student council president. And, needless to say, I was the first black, I don't think I was the first female, but, I might have been at the time because the school was relatively new. But, so that kind of gave me the bug for planning things, which is why, the strategic planning. I see issues as puzzles, and I like to put those pieces together. And when they all click, that makes me happy.
Wow. Okay.
And so, you're not running for office for anything? We need you.
An honest woman with a heart for people.
I have very strong opinions, and I try to keep them under wraps sometimes because my family gets after me. And it's like, oh, you shouldn't say that. And it's like, well, if not now, when? And especially, I think, in these times. And I think that you're going to think I'm weird, but one of my favorite subjects is statistics. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite books is by a guy named, it's Stephen Huff. And
yes.
It's called, do you know it? And it's called How to Lie with Statistics. And I think between statistics and putting civics classes back in the school, life would be a beautiful thing, because it's just sad to see well-meaning, good people being duped by bad statistics and the lack of knowledge of civics.
Yeah, okay. As a former history teacher, I am totally in agreement with you on that one. Okay, so let me ask you this. What is the one thing in your purse that you cannot do without? A calculator, right? No. She said statistics. I went there.
Oh gosh, I don't know my purse. I would say, oh gosh, and I know what it is. I'm trying to think. It's hard to describe. I think it's cash.
Okay, that works too.
It's between cash and cards, because I always tease my kids and kids in general, because I just think money, maybe insurance cards, because there are days that I have something about this big with me, and I call them the crucial things. I have a credit card, an insurance card. Because, it's like sometimes cash cash is the only thing that works. And so remember to put some of that in your wallet or your purse. And then, it's like you can't buy health care on the spot. So yeah, you do need your insurance card with you. So all kinds of practical things like that.
That's very interesting. Okay. So, and it makes sense. It makes sense. When I don't want to carry my purse, those are some of the things that I choose. I usually choose my driver's license too.
Oh yes.
But, but those
Yep.
items.
I used to have a little card case that was meant for business cards, but that's what I put it in it, and I called that my kind of life support.
Sounds like a plan. I have a question, and that is, where can we find you on the web?
Oh, naughty me. I am working on revamping my website, but I do have, Icon is spelled with a K, I-K-O-N. So it's www.icon@iconstrategies.com.
Okay, great. Great. And then we would love to help you with your online presence on, Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. We will help you get that together.
I would love to be helped.
Thank you, Terrelle.
Because
we would love to help.
I had actually gone to a third party, which I'm finding more, and you probably hear this. They're all very superficial and technical and know nothing about the substance. And I just wasn't happy.
Yeah. We'll show you how to get it done, okay?
Okay. Right.
That's what we do. We're all about the how, okay?
And you will walk away with what you need to be able to connect online. You have to be able to connect online, because what you are saying right now is so very helpful. And
wow.
And the majority of the people are online, but they still need to hear it. They need to participate in it. They need you. So we want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning to share this with us, and we definitely will be connecting up.
You're welcome. I appreciate the invitation.
All right. So do you have a phone number or something where people can call you at your brokerage?
Sure.
Okay, maybe we can share that. Okay.
At 916-407-2330.
And Terry, if you'll put that in the chat for anybody who's interested, and for everybody watching live or on the replay, we have been having a conversation with Terrelle Ballard-Mitchell, and fascinating woman. You definitely need to listen to the replay if you're just coming in, and if you've listened all the way through, you know what we're talking about. So please reach out to her at iconstrategies.com, and the icon is with a K. And we will be meeting up tonight at First Mondays at Seasons 52. If you are in the Sacramento area, please come out and join us. Seasons 52 is on Arden Fair Mall. They have fabulous food. You're going to learn a lot. Terrelle will be there. You can come up and talk to her and ask her some questions, and come and talk to us. Ask us some questions as well.
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, and then Siri's talking to me. So we just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you tonight if you're in the area. And Terry, is there anything else you wanted to add?
I want to remind everybody that we do have some workshops coming up to help you get ready for 2019. A workshop on planning, a workshop on broadcasting like a pro. Terrelle, you might want to talk to us about that too. But I'm saying to you, check it out over there on bizchicks.net. Also, we look forward to seeing you tonight. And I wanted to say, don't forget to go to the front of your own line. Thank you, Francine.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we will be back real soon, like tomorrow, with TJ online, talking all about social media and digital marketing.
And after they vote, right?
Yes, after they vote.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay there, Terrelle. Stay there.